Hey, thanks for joining us. This is Cloud Data Consulting and Dataedo presenting a little bit more about the Dataedo product. This is Mike Watson. I'm Director of Business Development at Cloud Data Consulting, and I'm here with Chase and Richard from Dataedo. Hey, Chase and Richard, you guys want to introduce yourself really quick?
Sure. Hey guys, I'm Chase Summers. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer at Dataedo.
Hi, everybody. I'm Richard Monk. I am the Data Success Manager here at Dataedo.
All right, great. Thanks, guys. Real quick intro about Cloud Data Consulting, under 1 minute. So we're a Denver-based professional services company. We do consulting and services around data and analytics. We use a lot of different products and tools, and we're partners with a number of different firms. We're very deep in data engineering. So these are some of the more popular ETL tools you may know of, and we're partners with all of them. And we're especially fond of the Snowflake data warehouse. We're on our 19th Snowflake project. So we really deep in all these tools and been doing them since they really existed. So that's the angle that we're coming from in terms of what we're really, really deep in. This year, we found it really important, though, to be better about documenting all the data sources, data lineage, and that led us to a partnership with Dataedo. And that's the topic of today's subject is learning more about Dataedo, data governance, and the product and like where it fits. So without further ado, I want to talk more about Dataedo. Guys, in your words, what is Dataedo?
So, Mike, Dataedo is a lightweight solution for data governance, for documenting the data sources, building the data dictionary, building business glossary, adding all sorts of additional knowledge about the data landscape there at clients' organizations. So the keys here are that it's lightweight, it's flexible and customizable, and it's easy to implement. And it gets you a long ways towards the managing the data governance aspect of this.
And to add on top of Richard's comment, we are a very what we call an unbiased data catalog, meaning that we really work to support a wide range of data landscape for hybrid environments, cloud environments, on-prem environments. We work diligently to make sure that we connect to virtually all of the primary data sources that most organizations would like to use, especially in the mid-sized market.
Got it. Okay. Well, so I'm kind of curious, guys. Where does it fit into the modern data stack? Because we hear about the modern data stack all the time in our world, and there's the typical data sources, ETL tools, the cloud data warehouse in the middle, and then BI analytics on top. So, given that modern data stack outline, where does Dataedo fit in the world?
So unless you're a fresh company, so essentially a startup, most of those organizations that are looking to go modernize have some sort of legacy systems. And so as we've grown as an organization and as a product, we've really worked to prioritize not only fitting into that modern data stack, but also being able to support legacy systems so that we can really capture the entire data landscape. A lot of organizations are, moving towards the cloud, modernizing with a range of new data sources, BI tools, ETL tools. But again, there's in most organizations, especially in where we see places that are prioritizing data governance. So your healthcare, government, finance, education, those people they still have their legacy SQL servers that are on-prem. And so we really make sure that we can fit into both buckets, support the modern data stack as companies are modernizing and growing. But again, we can ensure that that transition is seamless.
Okay, thanks. That makes a lot of sense. It, my question next is, when does it make sense to actually acquire a tool like Dataedo? Like before a project, in the middle of a project, anytime you're, struggling with documenting all the data sources and the whole landscape? I'd love to hear more about that.
It's the fun cliche of the best time to plant a tree was 30 years ago. Data's been around for quite a while, right? And so most organizations have that legacy data, and they're just adding on top of it constantly. And especially those that are modernizing with tools like Snowflake, Coalesce, DBT, they're only moving faster and faster. And so we've heard a lot of organizations come to us and they've weighted towards not the tail end of their data warehousing experience, right? But when it's quote unquote too late, and they're saying we have all of this, we don't know what to do, we don't know what it was. And so what we found is the most successful organizations are proactive with that approach. And so they're integrating with the data catalog proactively, hand in hand with their creation and work going into that data warehouse, because then you're documenting and you're building as you go, and you're not having to backlog as you're still continuing to build it, on down the road. So again, we find the sooner the better. Even if you are experience or planning to integrate or to implement a data warehouse, even for your legacy data systems, it's great to have an understanding before your project of what you have. And so you understand what you need to migrate, what's there, what is a priority, what's not a priority, even before your larger, newer modernization or data warehousing projects. Richard,
Yeah.
anything you'd like to add?
Sorry, maybe I can add to that. Something that I hear, we all hear sometimes, is recently there's been a lot of push to understanding, to use the data, make yourself a data-driven company, understand the data, all of that. We need to understand it. And so this idea of documenting and building the knowledge, building the catalog around that as it's created as soon as possible is really important. Otherwise, you get into the situation where, yes, we have a lot of data. We recognize we have a lot of data, but we don't know how to use it or what it means. We want to avoid that by, getting into the catalog as quickly as possible.
I would think that, in today's times, people, leaving an organization could be a really big blow to a project when all that data source knowledge leaves. So is there a play to the fact that, people leave teams and then that knowledge disappears? So is that part of the reasoning behind getting the documentation underway quickly?
It's definitely a risk factor. And so there's that portion. There's also the segmentation, right? There's so many data silos throughout an organization that has, bits and pieces here and there, but there's no single source of truth. And so as an organization, as a product, we really strive to be that single source of truth and tie those gaps together, especially between, BI, the data analysts, even the C-level people who want to have an understanding of their data, and business users, which has been a big priority of ours recently, is making sure that business users are empowered by the data that's being documented or understood through Lineage and things like that. And also, you mentioned employees leaving, right? You have your legacy employees that, they have a lot of that experience, and, they kind of have that tribal knowledge that others don't have. But you also see it, especially in data warehousing, with consultants, right? So consultants will come in and they'll do work with data warehousing. And then, of course, that project comes to an end at some point. And, having a documentation tool or a catalog allows you to come in and have more seamless handoff and allows for scalability beyond, right? You're not going to lose the information that the consultants had coming in, which is so valuable. You're actually going to be able to carry that into the years to come.
Yeah, that's a great point. Because we're as a consulting firm, we want to leave behind as much documentation as possible. So we saw this need, very early in our projects to have a tool like this, and it's been great this year using it. So we feel like it's almost a critical necessity piece in every project now. So I can see how, having everything laid out completely is really, really huge in all these projects. And then for future projects, you've already got all that done.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so leverage it over and over again, right? So, are there comparable products already existing in this space? Or I can imagine there'd be older versions of products like this that existed in times past, maybe in the on-premise world?
It's interesting. I mean, big data's changed everything. These, data cataloging, data governance is a fairly new topic. There's definitely comparable tools. So we have a niche, which I'll speak on, but when you look at the market, you have a lot of your legacy tools, or they've been around for a while, like your Calibras, Elations, Atlan. Those are tools that, they target enterprise. They have a very elaborate and in-depth tool, and they're very great at what they do, and a lot of people like them. However, they are a bit too enterprise, and for a lot of our customers and feedback, where we sit in the mid-level market, it can be too much, right? So there's, they may not use 40% of the tool that they're paying 100% for, and so they don't feel like they're getting the full value. Where we've really tried to come in and target is that mid-sized market. So organizations that are 500 more 1,000 to 5,000 employees. Really looking to prioritize their data and in specific industries, especially in, I mentioned earlier, healthcare, finance, government, education, and of course, a lot of technology companies are prioritizing it because they are further ahead. But we fit into that mid-level market. To Richard's point earlier, we're very lightweight, we're very scalable, and we are continuing to grow as a tool, right? So we do quarterly releases, and we consistently keep up with the market, right? So we saw over the past 2 years data lineage come in and be something that it's a necessity for organizations looking to prioritize data governance, right? And so not only to have lineage, but have automated lineage. You want to make sure to have not only automated lineage, but column level lineage. And so there's another level at every step. And to be able to trace those data flows throughout the organization as seamlessly as possible. So that's been a big focus on our plate over the past 2 years. Last year into this year, we saw a big focus into AI and automation there. And so we really work to prioritize, the implementation of AI to make documenting more seamless within the tool. Our plans now and where we're growing in the market and we're seeing a major opportunity is it's the trickle down effect, right? Even with business intelligence, you saw it in the Fortune 500 companies, and then slowly it worked its way down to medium-sized companies starting to prioritize it and so on and so forth. We're seeing that same thing with what we saw with data governance, with data catalogs, and now data quality. So data quality is a major thing that we're putting a lot of effort in, and we actually just released our first flagship data quality functionality this quarter. And so we have a big plan going into 2025 and beyond to prioritize data quality and really provide day one value to customers through that. But again, that's a major plus of Dataedo is we're evolving quickly and we're able to keep up with the market, but it's not in a very heavy way. We're very intentional with how we place things in, and we have a wonderful product team and a very product centric and focused company. Our CEO Pyotr Kononov is a data analyst by trade, so we have from the top down a very intentional approach to data governance.
Yeah, that's cool. I really like what you especially said about medium-sized companies, not the biggest enterprises in the world, but, and thinking about how you guys are in the market in a price perspective, you're very affordable in our thought process, and it fits into our clientele extremely well as well. So,
yeah, we want companies to know, you don't have to go spend $150,000 annually to have a grasp on your data and to allow it to empower the organization, right? That there are options out there that can provide that value, and there's not really a ceiling with it. We can scale with the organization as the data governance becomes more elaborate.
Yeah, I love it. Doing powerful scaling at a fraction of the old enterprise pricing. That's the kind of tooling that we love to hear about. Richard, anything to add?
Yeah, I was going to add that it's not only a question of, the money, it's also a question of the effort it takes to get the catalog up and running, both the installation and configuration phase, but then also moving in and populating and creating content for the catalog. Dataedo is very useful in both of those regards, whereas some of these other solutions, it can take several months just to get metadata into the catalog by the time you get through all of the configuration requirements. So that lightweightness there makes a big difference.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's great to know. Thanks. So final question, what role can a consulting firm like Cloud Data Consulting help with Dataedo with clients? Because like in my mind, the first thing that comes to mind is teaching them how to use it, doing configuration, implementation, all those things we typically do with all the products, but really showing people how to use it, having all the knowledge in all the complex data sources that exist, not just the easy ones like the modern SaaS tools, but the data sources like ERP or like some kind of an old, MRP system or something like that. So those are areas where we know that we can help with our knowledge base because we've been doing this stuff for 30 years. So as far as like, what about like getting to know the product, POCs, config, anything that a consulting firm that you think of would be crucial in helping clients, with?
Yeah, and it's important to note we have our base support, we have our training, our installation support, things like that. But I believe we still have customers come in. What happens when people start to, so we'll focus on the post-purchase, our customer side. When you start a data catalog and you start a data governance project, it unravels, right? You start to see a lot of different areas that either need improvement or have opportunities for improvement. And so having, people like Cloud Data Consulting and good teams to come together to help sort that out. Once you do kind of open Pandora's box and you start to see some problems, having resources of knowledgeable people to help and guide you through that, who have seen it in many organizations, that's useful. On the pre-purchase side, being able to explore a tool, and again, it doesn't even have to be Dataedo, but get to understand the market and landscape of data governance, data cataloging, what tools are available, what should it go with, right? We've turned away customers because they weren't a good fit for what we can provide. And so, going to a consultant like you guys to explore the right solution for your organization, understand what does fit and what you need, and being able to diagnose the problems you're facing at a high level. And, again, as you mentioned, help through proof of concepts, exploring tools. Again, even Dataedo aside, working with someone like you guys is beneficial to understand from a very unbiased perspective in the most part, right? Well, what can you do? What should you do? So there's a lot of opportunities there.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to mention about the product? Anything coming down the line that you want to mention? And before we end, I'll throw up our contact info as well, real quick. But go ahead. Anything in the product coming up in the near future?
Data quality is a huge thing, right? So we want to continue our biggest prioritization right now surround automation, making sure that people are getting earlier value with the tool, and then quality. So being able to spot blind spots with where your data may have issues, receive notifications on those. That's a big thing on our roadmap. Continuing to, it's very differently than a lot of our competitors. We build all of our data connectors in-house. So we have a team devoted to creating those data connectors. And so we're not just plugging you into a JDBC connector and saying, good luck. Like that's all we can get in. We're actually going under the hood and building out very elaborate connectors to get things that other tools, quite frankly, just haven't spent the time to get. And so having a very product focused team, we're continuing to invest in those connectors, making sure that we can gather people's, as much of someone's data landscape as we can, and make it as seamless and automated as possible. Other things that we're looking to invest in is continuously educating our customers. I mean, Richard's been a fantastic resource for our customers, and something that having people who are knowledgeable about data. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Richard's background, he was actually, worked in data previously, worked with Dataedo as a customer previously before he came in. And so we really prioritize having educated team members and people who understand the problem, understand the solution, and continuing to grow. So again, we have a great team, a great product that's constantly evolving. And yeah, we're really targeted towards that mid-market. Richard, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, the other thing that we're stressing, of course, is moving a lot of functionality, additional functionality to the web. So the portal will become a standalone application, a SaaS application that makes the desktop application maybe not obsolete, but optional. For those people who want to go fully SaaS or need to go fully SaaS, we'll have that capability coming along.
And that's a great point. That's a great point that we didn't mention. So Dataedo traditionally has been an on-prem data governance solution. We have migrated towards the cloud, so we can host customers fully in the cloud now. That's a newer thing. And again, as Richard mentioned, more towards the web specifically. So again, the hybrid approach is one that we've really prioritized and are continuing to push towards the cloud. Not that we're ever going to do away with the on-prem, but most companies take the opposite approach, right? They create the cloud option and they say, okay, we have serious customers who have really sensitive data. We need to put it on-prem, and we kind of take the opposite approach. So we want to make sure that we can support both. So yeah, thank you for mentioning that, Richard. That's a great point.
Yeah, really exciting. I wanted to make sure everyone had the contact info for us. I can certainly set up, demos, more deeper discussions if you reach out to me, or you can reach out to Dataedo directly. But with their contact info here, and certainly it's easy to find us, easy to learn more. But really exciting stuff, guys. I really appreciate it. I'll stop the share and just sign off, thanking everyone for joining and learning about Dataedo and Cloud Data Consulting. Guys, this is great. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to people, learning more about the product and the value it brings to clients. So thank you very much. It's been a great chat.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Our pleasure. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, guys.